What's up? It's your boy Carcino here. Let's get into it. Everybody loves the gossip. Gossip, 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 girl. Well, let's talk about it for a minute. Let's get to some good gossip. Now, let's talk about the business of Hollywood. Hollywood is a place that you don't want to be at, believe me. Unless you are just deranged and insane and live in a world where you're completely hypnotized and you're brainwashed to be in this bubble, and without that light and limelight, people just lose their minds and they'll do anything to get back in it. Well, let's talk about some of the people that work for these people. You know, this is how all the juicy gossip gets around. This is how all that juicy info, people who've been wronged in places of business that they work. I mean, there have been crazy situations all around the board in this industry that you guys know nothing about. Some of you do, because these magazines and stuff out here really talk about some of it. There's a lot of stuff you don't know. One of the worst people to work for or even worked with, and you would be surprised, and he's no longer here, but Luther Vandross. Luther. Luther. My friend. Luther. Big Luther. Skinny Luther, Big Luther. Luther was a problem. This man called the cops on Believe on In Vogue. If I'm not mistaken, during a concert, because they were being too loud or something. He was like, look, they gotta go. But Luther Vandross had it where his assistants were not allowed to bring any type of a pager. Like back then it was pagers. He was like, I don't want a pager going off. And she's like, well, what if it's my children or something and they need to reach me for an emergency? And he was like, thank you, that is a very good point. I need to hire people without children. Thank you. And she was released. Luther was something else. Luther had fired an assistant because the wardrobe was too tight and didn't fit him anymore, and told the assistant that he should have found out about it. So Ramon, who was the assistant, and Ramon, who got the outfit and all these things together, said, hey, wait a minute. If a button didn't fit or a button wasn't there or didn't go the way it was supposed to go, that's not my fault. You asked me to bring it here. You didn't ask me to iron it. You didn't ask me to clean it, take it to the cleaners, or do anything. It's not my fault it ain't fitting you. Maybe you should have cut down on them 12 bologna sandwiches you ate for lunch. So, another assistant of Luther's was fired after a party was thrown at one of his after parties from one of his shows. He had a bunch of people over for a private listening. So the next morning, Luther told his assistant, to clean all this stuff up. So the assistant tells the cleaning crew, who's like, that's not our responsibility. And the assistant like, it's never was mine. So he's like, I guess he thinks it's my, place to get people in here to clean. So the assistant, while Luther's asleep, hires a cleaning crew to come in and clean up this place that they're at, that they were renting, because the place that, they had there, you had to hire your own cleaning people to come in and clean. Because if they clean it, they're going to charge whatever, and their cleaning crew don't come in until the morning time. And that's just not suffice for Luther, as he doesn't like to wake up to a dirty house. So when he wakes up, things got to be clean. So as Luther's in there resting, they're in there cleaning crew, and Luther, I guess he, the cleaning is going on and everything else, and he gets up and the room is cleaned, and he was like, what happened? Like, who was these people? It seemed like a lot of people was here. I heard, he said the cleaning crew just left here. They cleaned up the room and everything just like you ordered. He said, no, I ordered you to do it. No, I want you to clean it. He said, well, that's not what I do. I'm your assistant. I'm not the house cleaner. So I hired the people to come in and do it. And Luther was like, I just don't like a bunch of strangers coming around my materials. I have music notes here. I have things here. And I only trust you around that stuff. If something's missing, I might have to let you go. So anyway, that goes over. Next thing you know, Ramon wants, like, it came out of his pocket. He didn't use Luther's money to pay for any of this, or they didn't charge it to Luther's room, or wherever the suite they were staying at. So he paid for it all. So Luther got to reimburse him for the cleaning of the thing, and he never did. And Luther and him kind of had a disagreement about that, and Luther fired him. And then Luther ended up bringing him back after a manager said, hey, that don't look too good. We might need to bring that guy back and keep him happy. He's seen too much. So the guy came back and, business as usual. But here, everyone has a usual NDA they have to sign before they come on and join to join up and be a part of everything. Which is completely understandable. Right? Take, for instance, Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey, for years, has been known as one of the worst people in the world to work for. I don't know how many assistants she's been through since the 90s. And I'm saying the 90s. Can you imagine her, what she was doing in the 80s? Because she's been around billionaires. She was married to billionaires. This is how her whole life was. So she's been around multi-million-dollar men her entire life. So just getting what she wants is exactly what she wants. Mariah Carey had demands, and her demands are spontaneous. And that is hard to deal with. And her assistants were fired for not knowing what she wanted spontaneously, because she's not knowing me. You've been here long enough. You should know what I want. You should know that. She went through Renita Acosta. She went through another assistant named Barbara, who was, these were short-term people. Like, they were there and was like, oh, I couldn't last a month. And she normally hires people that has out-of-the-country experience, different languages and everything. So Mariah used to have a cook. And Mariah can cook herself. So she would sometimes cook her own meals. And she would say, oh, can you help me prepare this? So the cook would help her out and things of this nature. So this goes on every now and then. And then she accused one of the housekeepers of moved an item while she was cleaning. She lifted up and she's like, that never moves. That remains there. That's a demerit. Like, she gives them demerits. Like, she's like making notes, like mental notes of, you got 1 strike, 2 strike, 3 strikes. I'm like, she's really penalizing people. And then she had, what's that, Simonette DaCosta, who was the nanny for her kids. She got the twin boys, Monroe and Moroccan, their kids. And one night she got like crazy and fired the nanny and going off on her, yelling at her for being too affectionate to her children. Mariah Carey's reputation was going to take a huge hit because she accused this woman of caring too much about her children. Where do they do this at? Where is this conducted? What planet are these people from? Don't forget to hit the like button, people, and subscribe to the page. Hit that notification bell. The Cash App is Carcino if you want to support the page. This is real. This is what's really going on right now. Oh yeah, there's plenty of them out there. Who's another one? J.Lo. Do you want to work for J.Lo? Hell no. J.Lo will fire assistants left and right. She fired one male assistant who claimed that she was being sexually aggressive towards him, and he didn't want to go for her, and she was upset, and he was fired. And now, how true that is, I don't know, as far as what he's claiming, but he was fired. Now, she comes from the hood, you know, she's from the block. And people say she's difficult because she's very demanding as a woman. She's a very aggressive woman. And when she's passionate about something, you cannot get away. So her poor makeup artist got fired because she claims he leaked some stories about her to the press and about her and something that happened while he was there, and his reputation took a hit through Hollywood. Like, he used to do makeup for Destiny's Child, he used to do makeup for Solange. He worked with a lot of R&B artists and people in that industry. So when they found out, or the rumors were spreading at him, you know, it destroyed his reputation. And she hired him back, but he was been blackballed from so many places. She eventually hired him back because he was going to have a massive lawsuit against her. But it done so much damage to him because they found out he wasn't the guy that did it. I think his name was Scott Barnes, if I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah, when she was with Mark Anthony, she fired her wardrobe stylist or whatever for a dress that people said in one of the magazines was a disaster. It was a piece that was given to her, and she was like, I told you that dress was ugly, and you told me that it looked good on me, and now look at what they're writing. You don't know style. And fired her. And it's not the lady's fault because somebody, whether it's Dolce & Gabbana or somebody gave her Versace, gave her this dress. She could have returned that back to Versace and said, I don't want the dress. She's tried to style her according to the dress that they sent her. That's not your stylist. The stylist didn't go out and get that for you. You did. So she had to pay the stylist X amount of dollars for terminating a contract. This is nuts because a lot of people in Hollywood are trying to get into these positions. They want these jobs so badly. They want them. And they're like, Cena, why are you always talking about the women? I know it's some men out there that are terrible too. Jamie Foxx is another one. You don't want to work for Jamie Foxx. One, Jamie Foxx assistant that works with him has to be on call. His former assistant had to be on call when the radio station When he's at the radio station, this is when Jamie was working radio too. Had his radio show. He was like, when Jamie's doing his radio show, no one, he has to get there early to make sure that no one comes in the room and bothers Jamie until Jamie's ready to come out. Don't knock on his door, anything. So he had been there for hours, and Jamie was running late. Jamie shows up late, so this guy's been sitting there the whole time, basically manning the door, and he's got to go to the restroom. And he was like, you're not here at the certain amount of time that we're supposed to do this. You came in late to the show when they didn't think you were coming at all. And he's calling Jamie trying to figure out what it is, and he's not answering his phone. Jamie had partied up the night before, so his team, that his comedian teams that he got on the radio, they were holding it down. And Jamie was, I guess he was in a feud with Howard Stern or something at that time, and thought this assistant guy was leaking things to Howard Stern because the assistant used to know a lot of comedians, or the wife that used to be married to Howard Stern. Something crazy he came up with in his mind is just saying, yeah, I don't think it's going to work out because, yeah, you're not here with me, and I need people that's here that understands me, that even if I'm not here, they understand what it is that needs to be done. Now, if I don't answer your call, then either I'm asleep or I'm doing something. I don't need an assistant that's going to call me 14 times in a day to ask me things that they should already know. So, I just think it's about time I let you go. I know you're going to get mad and you're going to want to run in magazines and sell your book and all that, but I'm just telling you, don't do it. Think about it first, because it's only going to get you 5 seconds of fame. You're going to get nothing from it. They know everything about me. But you're going to get your severance check. I'm going to pay you out, and I'm going to give you an extra month. And then you can find another work. Okay? Because I just don't feel you competent enough. So the guy was upset. Rightfully so. Right? He was upset. Simon Cowell. Simon from America's Got Talent. Simon Cohart or whatever. Is that his name? Oh no, I'm thinking of something else. His name's Simon Cohen or whatever. So anyway, Simon, he's terrible. He thinks everyone, like when he goes home, it's like my assistant's got talent or something, and everybody's on the show auditioning when they're trying to do their job. Normally with him, their problem comes with, like, he doesn't normally talk to them. They're not allowed to hold conversations with him, only about work or something about the house or their job. You're not to have personal conversations with him. That's one reason one of the assistants was fired. They had trying to have a personal conversation with him. Hey man, you see the game the other day, and you got to go. Simon will fire you immediately. So if you want to work for Simon, don't do that. Now, here's the other reason that was a kicker. These people all have friends that work for other celebrities that are assistants, and they do all these extra tasks and all these things that happen. And what they all look forward to is Christmas bonuses. Simon gave them like $1,000 Christmas bonuses to some people, and gave them like, okay, well, here's $1,000 Christmas bonus. And they were pissed because they had friends in other places who were getting $5,000, $10,000, a house, car for Christmas. Not $1,000. They felt slighted and disrespected. But my thing is, a bonus is what it is, a bonus. You're in a privileged position that Your job is detailed, and right before you sign the deal, the contract, none of that or whatever is guaranteed. So if you signed up for this, this is what you signed up for. This is the world you're now in. Do you want to work with these celebrities? This is the way to go. Now, some of these interns have ended up becoming actors. Some of these assistants, personal assistants, they've ended up becoming actresses and having careers of their own. And most of them, and mostly all of them, have to sign NDAs. Now, Gwyneth Paltrow. Gwyneth Paltrow is somebody that is very, hot-tempered with her staff. She once thought one of her assistants was making eyes at one of her boyfriends or her children's father or whatever. And she just has these bizarre treatments of her staff, making them drink mushroom tea when they don't want to. It's like, no, you must drink this mushroom tea. It's like, what is wrong with this woman? And she does not like anybody getting sick. If you get sick, you are fired. If you call off of work, you are fired. She needs to know she can count on you 100% and nothing comes before her. Now, do you want to work for Gwyneth Paltrow? Do you want to drink mushroom tea every time you come in her presence and work for Gwyneth Paltrow? I'm trying to tell you, man, this industry is a mess. Yep, it is a complete mess. Well, I don't even need to tell you about Ellen DeGeneres. Ellen DeGeneres is by far the worst. She's probably, you could use her whole thing was all on TV. That thing played out for a whole week straight, like 2 months. There's people coming out who was guests on the show. They were mad about how they was treated. She has been unapologetic to anything she's ever done. She is the first lesbian that I know that is exactly like a dude. I'm like, she's probably a dude in real life because she acts just like one. Now, her household employees were claiming that, she would leave passive aggressive notes in the bathroom. Just how she normally would talk people with sticky notes and not turning off lights and placing salt shakers so that the dinner table, she's just like, if you don't put a salt shaker right where it needs to be on the dinner table, then you're fired. Now, allegedly, all these people, if you're a cleaner and you don't clean, and they got to stay on your back for cleaning the house that you're supposed to clean and you don't, you might have problems. Now, I remember, who was that, what Ellen fired when she was dating, I think, what's that girl named? Etch? Or whatever her name is. I can't think of her name. She was with Harrison Ford in that movie. I think Helen Etch or whatever. Or Elaine Etch or something. I don't know. But anyway, she was dating her, I believe, at the time. And she had just came out that she was lesbian and was messing around with Ellen DeGeneres. And it just went left from there because Ellen, like her outfits and her things that she wanted things done to her perfection. Like she wanted her wardrobe, which is like vintage 70. She wanted them all a certain kind of way. And Ann Hitch, that's what it is. Ann Hitch, that's her name, I think. And while they were like seeing each other, she was freaking out because she felt one of the assistants was snooping through Ann's stuff. And one of the female assistants that she had, she didn't trust. Because she felt like, are you trying to, like make eyes with her? And I don't want you to clean her things, just my things. And this is the way I want it done. And, she's just very, approach of with the approach, she's very detail oriented with what she wants, and she wants things followed to the letter. But before, because she's had problems with firing people before, she lessens the contact with them personally and uses sticky notes to deal with them. So it's a whole different world out there. Now, Puffy Combs. Is Puffy Combs somebody that fires a lot of assistants? He only had some assistance problems. Normally he don't. Puffy doesn't really normally have a problem. But Puffy's fired like 2 assistants probably in his life because one assistant was doing things that they shouldn't have done. So the assistant was messing up. The assistant was using the company phone to call out of the country to family members out of the country on the office line. He felt that he could on his break. While he's on break, he's allowed to do as such. And in his NDA, he violated the rules that he wasn't supposed to do that. And it was in his NDA agreement that if he can call his family, but not on our line. So he definitely was fired for that. Diddy had another assistant that worked for him who was trying to say that he was assaulted by Diddy and grabbed by the arm. That didn't fly well in court. The case was dismissed. And that's why I can't really put Diddy on that list, because Diddy's normally been okay. Like, he even tips well, as far as bonuses and things. So I couldn't put Diddy on this list because all the claims that he had was like knocked out of the box. Well, Jennifer Lopez, like I was telling y'all before, she has a thing where you can't touch her. She don't want her assistants to even touch her. If you accidentally bump into her, you're fired. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be really careful, man. This industry is crazy. Now, that's just a few. But ask yourself now, do you really want to be in this business? It's your boy Carcino. I'm out. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the page, hit that notification bell. The Cash App is Carcino. We out.